Are you feeling like your marriage is slowly fading into black and white movie? No fireworks, just silent dinners and awkward silences. You're not alone. But before you grab the divorce papers, let's talk about what I'm going to call some sneaky marriage killers that you might not even realize that you're doing. Hi, I'm Kingsley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach for almost 2 decades. But I've been married for almost 40 years. So I'm at my 38th year of marriage as of this recording and counting. I know that it doesn't appear that way, but it is. So you can imagine I've had both personal and professional experiences, and I've seen and experienced some of these communication pitfalls, these killers, up close and personal. I want you to recognize that where I'm coming from, it is not just pulling things out of the stratosphere somewhere. So this video is going to be your secret weapon that I want to give you to reignite the spark and prevent your marriage from becoming a zombie apocalypse, right? By some things I want to share with you. Let's kind of dive into what I want to give you today is 5 filters that actually could turn things around if you implement them as I outlined them. Okay, first one is the first filter is what I call the blame beam. The blame beam. Now, this one is where you're throwing shadows of resentment, right? Things that you are saying and doing is creating a resentment in the relationship. It's that accusation that your spouse, your husband is feeling when you're making requests. He hears them as demands. He hears them as being told what to do. He also hears the you always or you never. And those are flame throws. Those are the blame beam that create an incredible moment where your husband will either become defensive or shuts down or even fights back, right? Because he's going to defend that position. Now, in First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4-7, it paints a beautiful picture that I believe could be helpful here. It's of love, which says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not arrogant, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. That's what love does. This idea of this filter of the blame beam, love gonna be the antidote. So let's focus on love and understanding, not blame. That is the way that you're going to deal with this first filter. The second filter is what I called the mind reader. Now, you may have heard your spouse, your husband, or you may have said it to him, I'm not a mind reader. Because sometimes I find in relationships, one spouse is expecting the other person to know certain things. They have this mindset, this belief, you should know. Why do I need to tell you? You should know this by now. As I've said, I've been married for 38 years of this recording, 38 years and counting. I can tell you after even this long time of marriage, I don't pretend to know what my wife is thinking or how to finish her sentence, her thoughts. Why? Because I've got to leave room for development and growth. And if she's growing and developing, she should be at a place where things are changing. So when I think I do know some things, I don't know everything. So why do I gonna pretend that I know what she's thinking, like, and finish her thought and finish her question and say, I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna ask. No, you don't. So avoid the mind reader. Stop expecting your husband to magically know what you're thinking, right? Because this one leaves him in the dark. And if he does that to you, it leaves you in the dark as well. So communication, as you know, and is a two-way street. As Proverbs 18, verse 15 says, the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge. For the ears of the wise seek it out. So don't expect him to magically decipher unspoken thoughts. Don't expect him to know what you're thinking or what you want. Why? Communicate that. Let him know. Say, I've told him 50 times. Maybe you might need to tell him the 51st time. We as husbands sometimes have short memories. And we are so focused on so many different things and trying to balance so many different things in our lives, our business, you as a wife, our children, and everything else, and the pressure and the stress. Sometimes things come through one ear and go through the other. And I know you're saying, well, it shouldn't. Well, it's not about what should or shouldn't. The fact is, a relationship is a marriage, and you want to make certain that you protect against that. So if you are so far, if in any way this is resonating, I would like for you to right now hit that like button because you're going to tell me that this makes sense to you. And also, if you're thinking, well, not, well, just comment below. Just comment below and let me know your thoughts if it's a no thought. But if it's something you're resonating with so far, hit that like button or any point in what I'm sharing. And if it resonates, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you don't, then let me know in the comments below. Filter number 3 is what I call the Stonewall. You may have heard this before, right? It's that silent treatment. It's like staring in talking to at the wall kind of thing, right? That's a big no-no when the silent treatment is what happens. I've worked with couples many times, and I just recently working with couples, and this couple said to me that they haven't spoken to their spouse for 2 weeks or 3 weeks thereabouts. I'm thinking, how do you do that? How do you sleep in the same bed? Sometimes, of course, they don't. They sleep in different beds. And how do you go about your life where you can go that long? I mentioned 38 years of marriage, and I cannot recall a time where I've ever gone. I can't even recall going a day. Maybe they may have happened. My wife is better at that. She may be able to remind me, but I can't recall going a day or two without having a conversation of some kind with my wife and she with me. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks, how is that possible? I guess it happened because it's possible because it happens, right? So yeah, I believe it's a no-no, and it's a killer. It's one of those killers in the relationship. It's like it's creating like the wall of Berlin, and maybe too young to know about the Berlin Wall, but you can look that up, right? But so what might need to happen then is to talk things through, even though when things are tough, it's healthier than the silent treatment and the icy stares. It's better than that cold experience you might be having. Remember, Philippians 4 verse 8 says this: finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, focus on these things. So I want to encourage you to choose humility and vulnerability over silence to break this stone wall that you might be experiencing. Filter number 4 is the nagging nanny. Yes, the nagging nanny. One of my favorite writers in the scripture is Solomon in the Proverbs, and he talks about a nagging wife. My wife and I were someplace, and actually we're home. It was a rainy season, and man, it rained and it rained. It's like for days. I mean, for days, literally for days. It's a lot of rain, and at times the rain just didn't come down real hard. It just dripped and dripped and dripped. I said to her, why not this rain just come and just be over with? It's just rain. If it's gonna rain, just rain, right? But it was this constant droopy dripping. And I said to her, is it any wonder that Solomon says a nagging wife is like that steady, that drip on the roof, drip, 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 right? Again, take that up with Solomon if you have a problem with that. But the nagging nanny is a constant criticism, never good enough. It's always a constant to-do list. And especially if she's that taskmaster and always going, 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 and never sit down. I was working with this couple one time, and I remember the husband said, my wife, she never sits, she never stops. There's always something more to do. And he wants to come in out from work and just relax. Now, there are times when things need to get done. I understand that. But for her, for him, there's never seemed to be a time when he could ever relax, ever sit down and watch TV and not having her telling him or communicating to him non-verbally that he's being lazy, being inconsiderate, and is not, he's worked a full day. And so it's a constant dripping, 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 or nagging, nagging, nagging. And so it chips away at him. And she have said to me, he explodes. And he says, the only reason I explode because I can't take it anymore. Now, as I would say, that's not a reason, because the Bible says, that we should never let anger causes us to behave in a certain way. So exploding is not the right behavior either. So I'm not saying he should do what he did, but I can understand why he got to that point, because he felt that his wife was always nagging and he could never do anything right. He could never take a break. Now, remember this, that to us as husband, it seemed like this lecturing constantly. And that's why I think some husbands have said to me, many, many times I've heard this, where they've said, feel like she's treating me as a child, like she's my mother. And so that's really a killer as well, when that husband feel like that wife is telling him everything he needs to do, what to wear, what to eat, when to eat, all that stuff. Don't do this, don't do that. And you feel like, I'm not your child. And she may not even realize this. And maybe you're doing that. So the nagging nanny is one of those filters that can lead to killing your marriage, and you don't even know that. And so the loving reminder is to recognize that you can change that through positive reinforcement and focusing on solutions and praise and appreciation, right? That goes a long way. James 1 verse 19 reminds us everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. So let's encourage and uplift. And filter number 5 is a know it all. The know it all. This is the one that dims the sense of teamwork, right? So I want to encourage you to listen to your husband with an open mind. Should he also do the same thing? Of course. And I would never say he should not, but listen with an open mind, even if his perspective comes from a different galaxy, right? Men are from Mars, women are from where? Venus. So even if he's from the Mars and you don't understand him, still listen, still acknowledge, still let him know that you're hearing him. Okay. You're not competing. You're not a competitor in the knowledge Olympics, right? So you don't have to behave and think that this is a competition. No, it's not about competing. It's about completing, not competing. It's about completing. First Peter 3:8 and 9 says this. Finally, all of you live in harmony with one another. Be sympathetic. Love as brothers and sisters. Be compassionate and humble. Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult, but bless, because to this you are called, so that you may inherit a blessing. So let's build a team of mutual respect and understanding. Now, I want to give you a quick hack to now move into what you can do. And this is very, very important. So listen to this right here. I want to suggest that you get on the Appreciation Express. See this as a train that you're getting on called the Express, right? The Appreciation Express. So don't let good things that your husband is doing, the hard work he's putting in, the times he just do things from, whatever it might be, don't let that go and fade into black and white. Express gratitude, right? For the little things he does. Even taking out the trash becomes a heroic act, right? Let it become an act where, man, that's my man. That's my manly man taking out the trash, right? As Colossians 3 verse 15 to 17 says, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body, you are called into peace. And be thankful, right? Be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. So let's celebrate your husband. Reinforce these habits, encourage him, show appreciation, tell him verbally, tell him how much you appreciate the fact that he does the things he does. You may say, Kingsley, well, he should do that anyway. Why do I need to tell him? Listen, it means a lot to us as husbands, as men, to have our egos stroked. And this is one way to stroke our ego. Because he said, this is, whether you believe it or not, whether you care or even agree with it or not, it's important. That's one of the worst way to what you might be doing and you don't even realize it. But these are the sneaky ways, I'm telling you, of how you can turn your marriage around. So remember now to avoid the what we call communication killers, right? I've mentioned those before. Practice the appreciation express. Get on that train and watch what's going to happen to your marriage, right? So I want you to pick one of these I've described, right? Pick one of these, and this week, all right, whenever you're listening to watching this, pick one of these, and I'd love to hear which one you picked and why. So comment below and tell me which one you picked and why you picked that one, right? So again, quickly, it's going to be either one of these five filters. So the first filter I mentioned was the blame beam, right? The second filter was a mind reader. The third filter was Stonewall. The fourth filter was a nagging nanny, and the fifth filter was a know-it-all. Which of those do you think your husband would label you as? And then do something about it. Do something about it and pick one of those and comment below and tell me my husband would, and you finish the sentence. My husband would choose. My husband would choose blank. Fill in that blank and comment below. If your husband watching this, you would just say, this is what I would have told my wife over and over again. And you comment below what it is you've told her. I'd love to hear. Let's have the conversation. Okay, let's have the conversation. So with that said, my friend, I want you to watch this video right here because it's one that really will help you even get a little bit more of what it means to about addressing and acknowledge feelings and why. So watch this video, it'll tell you more about that. So with that said, I want to say thank you for watching and thank you for sharing this. Thank you for subscribing and liking. And with that, I look forward to seeing you on this channel for the next video. God bless and make this marriage work. Make it work. It's possible. All things are possible with God. Amen.